Okay, so we're really not that far away, about 6 weeks away from the dropping of David Gordon Green's The Exorcist Believer, which I'm, you know, really, really, really cautiously optimistic about. I've seen the trailer a number of times. I saw it when they did the talk when I went to see Talk to Me. It can't be any worse than Talk to Me, because Talk to Me is just terrible. It is the most overhyped and overrated horror film I've seen in a very long time. But an interesting question got posed the other day, and I thought I would share it with you here. Is the movie going to have Easter eggs? And you can see there we've got Linda Blair. I'm convinced if this is going to be a trilogy, from that Linda Blair is going to be there. I'm convinced she's going to be there. You can see we've got Stellan Skarsgård in the top right corner from Exorcist: The Beginning. You can see Jason Miller, who unfortunately is no longer with us. And then on the bottom left, you've got Stellan Skarsgård again from Dominion, which is actually a decent film. It's not exactly what you would consider an Exorcist film, but it's an interesting art film, and I actually own a copy. And every once in a while, I enjoy watching it. So this is from 3 days ago. No, this is from 6 days ago. Will The Exorcist Believer feature Easter eggs from previous Exorcist films? And this is from sci-fi.com by Joss Weiss. Just like he did for John Carpenter's Halloween, writer, director, producer David Gordon Green will officially revive the Exorcist franchise this fall, October 13 to be exact, with a brand new film that effectively ignores the sequels that followed the original groundbreaking film. Now, I've heard mixed things about this. One, that the other films are still canon. The other, that he's pushing all of those off the table, and that this is the new canon, kind of like what he did, with Halloween. Everything after the 78 movie was no longer canon, and we moved right into this trilogy. Unlike the filmmaker's recent trip to Haddonfield, however, The Exorcist Believer will purportedly not harken back to the previously established canon it seeks to erase. Let's see. Why Exorcist Believer is not full of Easter eggs. It's not an Easter eggy movie, Green, who also co-wrote the project alongside Peter Sattler, told IGN while breaking down the movie's first trailer. I had a lot of fun seeing what some of the old cast were up to in Halloween and making callbacks to all of the Halloween movies. The Exorcist isn't that type of film. The Exorcist is more academic and psychologically horrific. My understanding is that he's consulted demonologists and exorcists. The demon will not be Pazuzu, but it will be a demon that exorcists and demonologists would recognize. He later continued, I don't want this to be a movie I was fabricating a lot of mythology for. We aimed for less popcorn entertainment and more researched, emotionally triggering storytelling. Okay. In an effort to underscore this grounded approach, Green used as many practical effects as possible, especially once the two little girls start to show outward signs of demonic possession. Speaking with LMR Online, the director recalled how special effects art of Christopher Nelson closely studied the iconic work of Dick Smith featured in the 1973 original. Now, we are here at the mark of 50 years. This is the 50-year anniversary of The Exorcist. My understanding is that there will be a limited release of the film at some point, either in late September or early October. I thought that they should, do that and wet people's whistle for this new movie. So, okay, I would probably keep it for about 2 weeks and then maybe have a week of overlap, and then you could carry on with this. But let's keep going. He did a great job trying to be the same but different, Green explained, going on to add a lot of if not all of most of our effects are all done in camera with some minor digital augmentation. But for the most part, we're trying to keep it really grounded and not have it turn into a big computer-generated special effects supernatural movie. We're trying to keep it grounded in terms of our narrative, our characters, storyline, and then the execution as well. How many movies are there? The Exorcist was followed by a total of 4 films, 2 sequels, and 2 prequels, all of which failed to reach the critical, financial, and cultural impact of their 1973 predecessor. The problem with, I've said it many times, they got it perfect the first time. And you've never really needed another movie. And 3 was good, Blatty's film, but that was based on the Legion book. And unfortunately, they made him insert an exorcism scene into it. And I liked Schrader's Dominion, but yeah, none of these other films have really been necessary. Indeed, the first movie remained the highest grossing R-rated film of all time until the release of Andy Muschietti's It Chapter 1 in 2017. Linda Blair, who served as a technical consultant on Believer, reprised the character of Regan McNeil in the first follow-up film, 77's Exorcist II: The Heretic, which did not have the involvement of director William Friedkin or the Exorcist author William Peter Blatty. The latter went so far as to completely ignore the events of Heretic when he signed on to both write and direct 1990's The Exorcist 3. And we've covered that here on the channel. Check out the video. While these sequels didn't leave much of an impression upon their initial openings, they did gain sizable cult followings in the decades that followed. A pair of prequels starring Stellan Skarsgård as a young Father Merrin, played by Max von Sydow in the 73 film Exorcist: The Beginning, and Dominion, prequel to The Exorcist, followed in 2004 and 2005, respectively. The IP made its way to the small screen in 2016 with a short-lived television series developed by future Moon Knight head writer Jeremy Slater. And we covered that on the show, and I just think that it is fucking fantastic. The Exorcist, especially that first season, I was hoping that would be canon, but obviously that can't be the case. If you haven't seen that, I don't want to give those spoilers away, but if you have a chance to see the Exorcist television series from 2016, at the very least, go with that first season. It is fire. Centered around a duo of priests investigating cases of demonic possession. The series adaptation ran on Fox for a total of 20 episodes across 2 seasons. What does The Exorcist believe? When does it open in theaters? Based on a screen story by Scott Teems from Halloween Kills and Firestarter. Oh boy, that's not a good sign. The Exorcist Believer arrives in theaters everywhere Friday, October 13th, Friday the 13th, by way of Universal Pictures, Blumhouse, and Morgan Creek Entertainment. I will be there on that Friday. A sequel titled The Exorcist Deceiver is tentatively slated to open on April 18, 2025. The title and release date, tentative or otherwise, for the third movie have not been announced yet. I am still of the opinion that horror fans are going to carry this film over. I'm not holding my breath that it's going to be great. I'm not betting my grandmother on it, but I do believe that horror fans are going to carry this across the finish line into the land of profit. I know that Universal spent $400 million for the rights to this. And I think that's just to make the sequel. I don't think Universal owns The Exorcist. I don't think they bought the whole IP. But $400 million, it's a lot of pressure. I guess we'll see. But, maybe an Easter egg here and there. They're saying, no, not really. But, I mean, you've already got Chris McNeil coming back. So the idea that Linda Blair may stop in at some point really doesn't surprise me. In fact, I'd be surprised if she doesn't show up at some point. It's been 50 years. Okay, that's my video. Let me know what you think. Is she going to be there? Are there going to be any other Easter eggs? Do you think it's going to be good? I'm sure everybody at this point now has seen the trailer several times. Leave a comment in the video. A one-word comment is fine. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Share the video. Let other people see it and let them tell you what they think. Okay, we'll see you in the next one. Later.